Writers' Workshop always was a place where I wanted kids to come to be confident in writing. When I get a space in the day to write on anything that I want to write about, I'm like, ooh, what's this? I'm allowed to write anything I want. There's no rules. People ask me, what do you do for your job? I'm like, I hang out with awesome kids. I do teaching, I do mentoring, and I do coaching. And I often flip between those roles a lot in Writers' Workshop and mentoring and coaching and all of those things. I think that what is here now and what I've been privileged enough, everything that I've done to get me to this point, I think that Recess and Creative Genesis could be the space for you and our the future kids. I mean, how many times have I told you, stop bringing your fish fingers to Writers' Workshop?
I was hungry.
Hi, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Ella. We are homeschoolers. We met through a homeschool platform called Recess, where we found our passion for learning and podcasting.
Exactly.
Come join us on our journey of self-directed learning as we dive into all the things about Recess on our
Recess Rundown Podcast.
And we will hopefully see you there. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Recess Rundown Podcast. Today's guest is Brianne. She created and is running a vibrant writing mentorship and program called Creative Genesis that inspires kids to thrive through the blend of creativity and project-based learning. Thank you for being with us today, Brianne.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I just wanted to start off by saying I love Creative Genesis. About a year ago, my mom put me in your workshop, and I had no idea what to expect. But your program is so different from anything that I've tried. Kids are writing and publishing novels, launching blogs, building fantasy worlds, and diving into the art of storytelling. What inspired you to start Creative Genesis? And maybe give our listeners a quick overview of what Creative Genesis is.
Okay, how much time have you got? It's a lot. It's a long story, and I do run a writing program, so I'm obviously a little bit of a storyteller. So I have always loved working with kids. I started Creative Genesis. Back then, it was called Writers Genesis. It was actually in Synthesis. That was when I was a facilitator there. And I started it because I was so sad that I wasn't working with kids anymore. So I was a teacher for a very long time, and then I moved out of teaching and got into the world of publishing. So I used to write ebooks, and I used to ghostwrite for a lot of people. I used to run a lot of people's blogs for them. But I was so upset that I wasn't being around awesome kids. So I was like, you know what, I need to start something. I need to do something in education. So I started at Synthesis, and it was a pretty cool place to start. And at the time I was writing a lot. So I was like, let's do something for writers. Let's do something for kids who are really creative and want to be in a really cool space. But don't necessarily get to be around other people. I started a thing in Synthesis. It was just writing workshops, random workshops that I was doing. And then all of a sudden I joined my own writing group myself, which was the writing salon, the London salon. It was an online group of just people that jumped on every day to write together, and we were all writing random things. It's basically how I got work done. And I was like, hang on. This could totally work for kids. This could work. So I decided to try something a bit different, and started running some workshops where it was basically just a space for kids to come on with whatever writing project they wanted and to talk about their writing projects and to work in a space that they wanted to work on. And eventually I left Synthesis, and a few parents asked me to keep going. And then from there, it's just kind of kept going. It's nonstop since.
I love how you just talk about how awesome we are. I know, we're just amazing. And just so great.
Yeah. When people ask me, what do you do for your job? I'm like, I hang out with awesome kids. It's very hard to explain what creative Genesis is to people. So I normally just have the line of, I just hang out with awesome kids all day.
I really enjoy having an hour where I have to write. As someone who likes to procrastinate, or not likes to, but I end up doing, I feel like it really helps me.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of people just need a little bit of space to write. I think that's a big thing. Also, I don't know about you, but I have to write a lot for my job. So when I get a space in the day to write on anything that I want to write about, I'm like, ooh, what's this? I'm allowed to write anything I want. There's no rules. I don't have to like write a particular way or have to write in a style or have to write like this person or that person or submit homework or anything. I just get to write for myself. Okay, let's try this.
Yeah. I'm really curious. How did you come up with the name Creative Genesis?
Oh, I don't. So it started off as Writer's Genesis. But as you know, we have so many kids who don't just work on writing. So we have kids who are working on character development, D&D, podcasts, blogs. So I changed it from Writer's Genesis, and Genesis meaning to begin, to start, creation, to create, to Creative Genesis, because I was like, well, everyone's just creating stuff, aren't they? Like no one's really specifically doing writing. It's just everyone's creating lots of cool things. And everyone calls it CG anyway. Kind of has a nice ring.
Yeah, so like you were talking about like how you taught in synthesis, but you've taught in so many different schools from all over around the world, from Australia to Dubai and even Japan. I'm so jealous. What was your experience like teaching in these countries? Like, what did you learn?
Ooh, great question. I learned that I didn't like working in schools. So I did do my training in Australia. So I was trained as a teacher and I did an arts degree. So I did a English double degree. So I did an arts with a majoring in English and literature. And I did a side degree of history as well, because I think English and history go so beautifully together. It's storytelling, right? And then I did teaching as well as my double degree. And then from there, I always knew that I never wanted to stay in Australia. I just wanted to travel. And prior to that, I'd actually did some volunteer work in Cambodia. And when I was there, I taught in schools and loved it. It was the first time that I actually did something. Before I was like wanted to work in education and work in like all over the world. I was actually studying to be a paramedic.
Ooh.
So I was studying, thinking that I was going to be in an ambulance and like saving lives and stuff like that. But it turned out the more that I got experienced it, the more I realized you kind of leave your patient and you never know what happens to them afterwards, and you don't get to go on a journey with them. So it wasn't really for me. And I was very, very confused about what I wanted to do with my life. So I did a stint overseas. I volunteered and backpacked Southeast Asia, and I worked in a school in Cambodia, and it was awesome. I had no experience teaching at all, and yet all of the teachers looked up to me because I was English speaking, and they were amazing at English. But I was like, surely there's got to be some other ways to like teach it. So I would like create bingo cards, and I would create like balls, and we created this like ball pit, and kids would have to dive into the ball pit to like figure out, like I would have like alphabet on there and they would have to like create words that way. This is like, there wasn't any technology, so I couldn't use like Wordle or anything, right? And I just loved that experience so much. So I decided to get into teaching, and then I worked in lots of different schools in lots of different places, but I would often only stay in a place for like a year, often thinking like, this just isn't for me. Like this, like Dubai, amazing place to live, amazing place to experience. I had the most beautiful kids. I worked in an all boys school up in the mountains. It was amazing. But I don't think this is how we should be like teaching kids. So let's move on to Japan. And I was in Japan, amazing kids, amazing place. But education still doesn't feel right here. Like it doesn't fit with me. And then I moved to London and same thing. Same thing kept happening. Every time I moved to a different place, I moved because I thought that I would find what I wanted to do, like my way of teaching, it would like fit in a different country, but it never did. It never did. So once I got to London, I then therefore like stopped teaching. I actually I quit when I moved to London.
I loved how when you were just talking about how you got the kids to learn through games. I feel like that's a big part at Recess. Teaching kids to like teaching them through games and letting them apply that to the real world.
Definitely. Yeah. That was Cambodia, so
yes.
Very different to Recess.
Yes.
No technology at all. It was all the games were like we would like play like lots of running games and lots of moving games, and I would use the whole maybe did I invent like escape rooms? Because I kind of created mini escape rooms before they were actually known as escape rooms. Maybe I like low-key invented that.
That's, yeah.
Escape rooms for education. That's just not something to put on my resume.
Speaking of education, how has your approach to education changed from teaching to coaching, like style of writing?
Ooh, great question. So, all right. So I don't know if my approach has changed. More, I now realize what I was doing and how I like to approach things was more coaching and mentoring than teaching. So I used to get into a lot of trouble as a teacher. I used to be told you're not doing it. Like I wouldn't follow the curriculum and I sometimes was behind. And I would have a lot of other teachers come up to me and say like, this wasn't the right way to do that, or, your classroom is too loud and boisterous. And then when I kind of moved into Creative Genesis, I stopped being like thinking of myself as a teacher and started thinking about coaching and mentoring as more of the fields that I wanted to go in, not knowing that I've always loved coaching and mentoring approach. What do you both know about the words coaching and mentoring versus teaching?
Oh no.
Teaching focuses on transferring knowledge and skills, where I guess like mentoring kind of like focuses on like providing the guidance and like advice. I kind of like just like a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I love that word, relationship. So I kind of, I both agree with you what you're saying about teaching. So teaching is often considered like a transferring of knowledge or skills. I like that. I love this metaphor. So, and you know how I love a metaphor at the end of Writer's Workshop when we all do like bookends and stuff like that. Okay, so this is my metaphor. You're walking down a path. You are trying to learn something, like the path is like you're learning. So you're walking down a path. A teacher, you come to a teacher, and they're the ones telling you, I want you to go down there, then take a left, then take a right, and then you'll get to your destination. As a teacher, they tend to like stay at where they are on the path, and they kind of let you go along on your own. They're like telling you, you might like stop halfway and be like, I can't remember, was it a right or a left? And they might scream, it was a left. Like that's kind of your teacher. A mentor is somebody who has stepped on that path before. So Maddie, you said like it's a relationship and it's advice giving. So often a mentor is somebody who has kind of done what it is that you want to do and can give you advice and give you help. So going along that path, they're kind of walking alongside you. It's like a relationship, right? And then as you're getting to the end, you might say, like to a fork in the road, you might say, I've taken the left. I know that that's going to get us there. We could take the right though. I'm not entirely sure if that's going to get us there, and we might need to do some changes, but I know I've taken the left, so we could go left. So that's kind of more that mentor. They're giving you advice based on coming from their experience. So in Writer's Workshop, I work with a lot of bloggers. I work with kids with novels, and I often give advice based on like things that I have done in the past. Like I can give that advice to you and pass it on. And then you can choose to use that how you want to. Coaching is a little bit different again. So coaching, think of it like walking along the path. And it's again like a relationship. You're talking, you're chatting, but instead of providing like options and saying, I've been this way before, I've been that way, coaching is more like prompting you and discussing how you know which direction you want to go in, and then what might you want to do next. So you might say like, and it's more around like coaching with questions, like, what do you know about the left? Going down the left way, how does that look? And you might say, oh, it's dark and scary, and I don't know if I really want to go down that road. What do you notice at the end of the road on that side? And you might say, but there is a light at the end. And then on the other side, we might talk about what's going on there. What have you heard from? Who has done this stuff before? And then it's talking you through that decision and then allowing you to decide which one you want to go. It might be right. It might be wrong. I might actually know the answer from mine, but I kind of refrain from giving you advice because it's allowing you to make choices on your own, allowing you to kind of just be. Still having like, spoken about it and ask really good questions, but it's like providing you the opportunity to choose where you want to go and how you want to go. What do you want to take along the way? What have you used in the past that's going to help you to get to the end of your journey? So to me, they're very different, like 3 different ways of like doing things. And each of those, I do teaching, I do mentoring, and I do coaching. And I often like flip between those roles a lot in Writer's Workshop and mentoring and coaching and all of those things.
DISC personality theory is something that you use for your mentorship program. DISC is designed to help young people understand who they are and why they and the people around them think and act the way that they do. How did you get into DISC? Did you find growth in kids when incorporating this theory into writing?
Great question. Okay. So So DISC is a tool, and you're exactly right. It's really, really helpful for kids. It's used mainly in the workforce. So DISC has often been used, it's like a personality assessment tool. So we use it to look at different personality tests, like personality styles. I would argue that it's less about personality and more about like parts of personality, because personality is made up of a lot of different things. Specifically, it looks at behaviors, like everybody has their kind of preferences, behavioral preferences, and communication preferences. So everyone has a way that they want to communicate. And as we get older, we develop kind of like those, like, when you're on a couch and you sit there and it's like your spot on the couch and you're fighting off your brothers because it's your spot, and that groove in that couch, you get like, just really, it sits for you. It's really super comfortable, right? That you get into that groove, into that communication preference, and it becomes a strength. It becomes something that is really, that you use to communicate, to like the behavior. It's kind of ingrained in us, and it's more so in adults than kids. So I trained in DISC when I trained in coaching. So I have a diploma in coaching, and I'm currently finishing off a diploma in coaching and education. I trained in DISC because we did a one-off little class in this coaching course, and I saw how impactful it was using it for adults. And I wanted to find out more about how we could use it with kids. And not a lot of people are currently using it with kids. And I think the reason for that is, one, it was made for workplaces. Two, your personality as kids, like Maddie, Ella, you're growing constantly, right? Every experience that you have is like changing, and your personality continues to grow, like even into your early adulthood. So it's much harder to talk about preferences and things like that with kids because it's not set in stone. It's not as much of a science as it is with adults. But if we think about it as like a tool, just like all of our writing tools that we use, it can help kids especially think about the way that they like to communicate and the way that they like to sort of like behave in group situations, or how they like to learn, and open up a conversation of like, how is it that you want to learn? What strengths do you want to bring into this situation? I would never say who I've done disc with, but for some kids, like I did disc the other day with a student, and they are a blend of styles. So disc is D, dominance, I is influence, S is steadiness, and then C is conscientious or compliance. So there's 4 main types. That's what makes up disc. And then you're normally a blend of a few, and you normally have one kind of real preference. So with this particular kid, they are about to move from homeschooling actually into mainstream schooling, and they're a little bit nervous about doing that. And we were talking about what their communication preference is, and they are more of a conscientious, so that's a C, or a compliance. And we were just talking about like, you know, people in this tend to like this or tend to like that. And we were talking about the strengths of those types of people. And instantly they were like, oh my goodness, yes, I am totally analytical. And then we were talking about how you could use that strength, like, you know, in homework or going into school for the first time. And he was talking about like potentially using it, you know, to like dissect like what sort of subjects are in this school and what he might like to look at and do. So it's giving like a tool and giving you language to kind of get you to explore things that you don't get to explore normally. That's how I normally use it. The other way that I use it, and this is a little bit of a cheat hack, I use it to give you guys feedback. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but Ella, Maddie, you are 2 very different people. Do you mind talking about how
I don't.
you give feedback to both of you differently?
Sure.
Okay. So for those who don't know, and I'm going to plug Maddie here. Maddie is a very imaginative, very precise writer. Maddie is very, very good at looking at examples of what she likes and using them, like drawing them in, drawing inspiration from things. Very good at verbalizing things and like talking about ideas, and often there's just inspiration that goes. So when I'm giving Maddie feedback, things that are really helpful with Maddie is providing examples. So I might give examples from some of the books that you're reading, Maddie. You've also mentioned you like it when I like rewrite a sentence or rewrite a little bit or give you sentence starters, because it gives you like inspiration to like, you know, kind of analyze the sentence and then change it or keep it.
Yeah.
But also you love to be able to talk about your stuff. You know, you like to be able to just explain it, talk about it.
Yeah, I like to talk.
Love to. Ella, when I'm giving feedback to you, you're And I haven't, I don't know disc of, like, this is different. I just pick up on things that I'm noticing and I put you kind of into categories and I test out. But if you're more this style, this is what how you might like it. So I test it out. But Ella, what I've noticed about when I'm giving you feedback is you appreciate more direct feedback, like be very specific on like, change this. And I normally tell you exactly what it is that you need to change. Or add something or do something. You're a very big picture person. So what that means is talking about your ideas rather than getting stuck on like the specifics within the article or the blog itself or the writing. Talking about the bigger ideas is often great with you because you can connect with it. It's like, what do I want to do with this? How do I want to get this across to people? What do I want people to understand from this? So you're often in the big picture. So it's helpful to like think about your writing big picture style. But then also I've been trying to provide you with less examples and more like, have you thought about doing this, and giving you options instead of examples.
Interesting. I loved hearing
You
about
also,
that.
both of you also use the writer's workshop very differently. I think it's related to the way that you both like your preferences and your styles. But I don't know. I know, Maddie, as soon as you jump into writer's workshop, you like love to do the activity, especially if it's a quick write. And then you take a beeline to the quiet area because you're like, nope, I just need quiet. I need to do this space. Like, I just need this. Whereas Ella does the activity, loves to listen to people. And then as soon as it's like, okay, everyone, the space is open, move into an area that's going to help you, Alice stays put. I was like, I'm going to stay with everybody else and I'm going to listen to everybody else's ideas, all the chaos and everything that's going on and all the discussions. And I'm still going to produce a blog in that time.
I think, yeah, I like having the noise. The quiet, it's like when there's quiet, I'm like, I'm stuck in my own thoughts, I guess. I'm just like, it feels like I can't really like grasp something. They're all just going.
Yeah. Maddie's very different though.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, stop talking, go away. Like, I try working like in a loud space, and I'm just like trying to write, and I just cover my ears, and I'm like, no, I can't do this. Like, stop talking.
It's completely different, like two very different ways of writing. Isn't that interesting though, how you both need something different from the space though, but you're still ultimately doing the same thing. You're still writing, but you need two different kind of environments and like needs to kind of help you in the situation.
What do you see in the future for Creative Genesis? Like, we heard that you'll be expanding on more programs to include reading workshops and specialty labs. What are these specialty labs?
Great question. So, yes, I'm going to be trying out some reading workshops because for those who don't come to Writer's Workshop, a lot of the time we end up talking about books. And that's part of like most days there's a book that gets referenced and everyone starts talking about it. It's a great way to like model writing, right? But I did get a lot of like requests for, well, we're always talking about reading. Could we maybe do a place where we talk about reading? Not to step on, like, Ella's got an amazing YA book club, and you know, Maddie, you had the book club. It's not going to be more like to step on that. It's more mentoring and coaching you all to kind of figure out the books that you love, figure out what you want to read and how you want to read. Very similar to what you've just figured out with like writing, how you like to write and write in different ways. I tend to find, so it won't be like a place where you come and everyone has to read the same book. It's going to be a little bit different. Everybody will be reading maybe slightly different things. Maybe people will be like, hey, I really loved when you were talking about this character. What book is it that you're reading? Oh, wait, I'm going to read that book now. So it's more like connecting across lots of different things. And we're going to focus mainly on character development. So identifying the characters that you love in what you're reading and just talk about characters. So I'm going to try that out. The specialty labs is very interesting. I'm trying this out because Writers Workshop always was a place where I wanted kids to come to be better at confidence, to get confident in writing. But yeah, I wanted it to be a space where you become a confident writer. And this really interesting thing happens when you get confidence in something. You start to want to try things that are a little bit harder. But once we're building up our confidence, we also have more confidence to try skills, to try things that are like we've never tried before, to build things, to do things that are harder. And I'm getting a lot more conversations with kids about wanting to like do more skills. So the specialty labs have been like a thing that I've been developing on kind of a little bit more on skill development because it's not a class, right? Like you both can kind of attest to that. We don't really do classy stuff, do we?
Yeah. Well, like you're saying, a class has a teacher, Creative Genesis has a mentor.
Yes. And the specialty labs are going to be less teachery. I'm hoping to do more like asynchronous learning. So having like a video to watch and then coming in and discussing it, or like having, done some writing in the week before and then everyone kind of giving feedback and reading things and learning from it. We did character lab at the last year and it was really good, and I'm kind of redeveloping that to be for younger kids. So the specialty labs are all about skill development. In coaching, my specialty is confidence coaching, and confidence in like academics or anything. It's just confidence coaching, but also confidence in transitions as well. So I've got lots of kids who are going from like coming into unschooling and coming into homeschooling. They just, watch the podcast and they're instantly hooked. And then also going out as well. So there's lots of kids who are going to be moving into like university things, or there's one student who's moving into boarding school and they're nervous about that. So they're wanting some coaching on like, how do I get confidence to go to start my new kind of academic career in boarding school? So lots of things on the horizon, and I'm sure you will tell me exactly what you think about it.
So as AI is evolving, do you have any concerns with AI and how writers may be affected by replacing them with AI?
Oh, I'm not worried about you both. Yes and no. So I just like DISC. I see AI as a tool, and it's how you choose to use that tool. I do have some concerns, but they're probably less about the actual tool itself and more about the people or how we choose to use it. I know when I got into teaching, and I've got a lot of teaching friends, everybody is concerned with AI. Okay. Let me explain it this way. I'm not worried about AI with you both, or when I am like mentoring somebody and they've told me they're using AI. Just low key, do you both use AI with writing?
Sometimes, not that often.
A little bit. Okay. When I'm worried about my grammar, I'm like, wait, can you make sure this is all correct?
Yeah, I usually use it if I want something for like a writing piece. I use it for inspiration.
Yeah.
And then like if I like this sentence a lot, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll add it, and then I'll just like touch it up.
Ooh, this is really interesting. So it sounds like, Maddie, your reason for using AI is to explore ideas?
Yes.
Right, rather than, and then like perfecting things like grammar or helping you understand something.
Yeah, like, oh, this word is too big. I would never use this word.
I think with any tool, it is making sure that we're using that tool aligned with our strengths, like what we're good at, but also with what we think's important. So, for example, I'm working with a writer who does use AI, and their parent is quite concerned about AI. And we talk about what this writer wants to use AI for. And for them, what's important about like writing or like talking about themselves in general, like what is it that they want to do when they write. And they have said, like, I want to talk about the things that I love to talk about. I want it to sound like me, and I want to get my information out and make it like helpful for my readers. I also want to make sure that I'm speaking the truth, was a big one. That's important for them while they're writing. And the other one was making sure that like people understand what they're saying. So when we talked about using AI for their writing, we talked about when you use it, how do you make sure you're using it for those reasons? So things like for this writer, it's like getting inspiration. This writer, it's very important that what they're talking about is the truth. So often when she's writing, she's like using it to double checking everything that it provides, but also ensuring that she makes sure that before she puts it into AI, that she's done the research, that she feels comfortable with that research. The other thing is making sure something that was really important to this writer was making sure that her voice always comes across in her writing. It has to sound like her. So when she's using AI, she notices pretty quickly when AI takes over and it sounds less like her and more like another person. Maddie, you just said like sometimes AI uses words that I'm like, I would never say that ever. That does not sound like me. So the fact that you know that does not sound like me, so I wouldn't use that word, tells me that you kind of are using AI aligned with what you think is important about you writing. So while I think that AI will take a lot of people's jobs when it comes to like writing, like what I used to do in copywriting and those sorts of things, I do definitely think it's going to take over. I'm not concerned with the kids that I work with because we're constantly talking about what's important to us as writers, like individually. Like Ella, you said what's important to you. Maddie, you talked about what's important to you in writing. So if you're using that tool but know what's important to you, that misusing of it is not really going to happen because you've aligned it with what's important. My concern is that a lot of kids and adults often use writing as the end. They're thinking about the end product rather than like the act of like, what's important to me about doing this? What's the purpose behind me doing this? And we're so quick to try to get to the end product that we lose their voice. I mean, I don't know about you, but can you tell when something's been written via AI?
Sometimes a little bit. They're like little, it's like, that doesn't feel human.
I agree with Ella.
Yeah. I also notice, especially if I know the writer, I know straight away when someone's used AI in Writer's Workshop. I could tell very quickly. And the main thing is because it's not their voice. I love to read both of your stuff because it's your voice. I'm connected with you. Like, that's the most important thing, is the reason why we storytell, the reason why writing exists is this value, this thing is connection. That's why we storytell. We connect with people. So I know that I can't connect with someone if I can tell that that's not their voice. So yes, I have some concerns about AI, in that if we don't use it, if we're not focusing on like building up your confidence to be like, I'm confident to use my own voice. I'm confident to challenge AI when I think it's not using a word that I would use. Like, I am worried that maybe we're not doing enough in that kind of sphere, but using it as a tool to help other people, like to get out there and speak, like especially people who can't read and write, I think it's going to be fabulous and it's going to change the game. But yeah, there are some, in the back of my mind, there are some things popping up, but I'm not worried about any of my writers, just quietly confident over here.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Are you worried about AI?
I mean, a bit, not that much.
Why
but
not? Why doesn't
I mean,
AI worry you?
like, what can it really do? I mean, I'm not sure, but like, I don't think it really bothers me because, like, just if you still have, if you've generated something with AI and then you put it down, read it through, maybe change some stuff, it's kind of still your writing a bit. So either way, it's still kind of not that bad, I guess. So, I mean, that's right now, though.
When do you think it becomes not you? At what point?
Like, people use it for, like, the wrong way, kind of.
What does the wrong way look like?
Like, I guess, like, when people use it and say, this is what I wrote, this is everything, I wrote this all by myself, when it's really the AI generated it, and
Right.
it's just like, I mean, that's not a big deal, but like still, it's there, you kind of using it for like the wrong way, maybe like, some people think that it's supposed to be.
Right.
And so they just kind of take advantage of it. Like, I made this, I kind of like show off. Not, I'm not saying the people who do that is like a show off, but like, if they do that, I mean, like, it's kind of like downhill in my perspective.
Right. So if it's not being used for like a purpose, if they're using it for something that isn't connected with what they want to do, or like they haven't done any work beforehand, they're kind of just, they're taking credit for not doing anything
Yeah.
right that goes behind it. Whereas people who are using it for like inspiration or for like helping with the grammar or helping with like certain things, it's still, it's like it's more like a tool. It's like a collaboration. Is that kind of what?
Yeah, that's basically the sum of it.
Okay, that's really interesting. What about you, Ella? Are you worried?
Yeah, I kind of I agree with Maddie. I think I'm not like I think I'm not particularly worried because like I said earlier, it doesn't sound human. AI cannot replicate what a real human person has made. There's no emotion behind it. There like there's not imagination. They haven't done this. When humans are writing, we're putting emotion into this. We're taking our experiences and adding this to make, like, adding that to our creations, our novels, our blogs. It's yeah.
So it's like for you, it's again, the AI is kind of the tool that helps you kind of communicate, but it's the writer or the person behind it who's putting the ideas, the emotions, the work behind it to get their result, like what they're trying to aim for.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I there's a lot of interesting points in what you both say. Yeah, like I said, I'm not worried with AI when it comes to my writers, because you're also confident in yourselves that I can't imagine you ever putting something into ChatGPT and then be like, yeah, this is perfect. This is done. 100% done. I imagine you're all going to be like, this character development, this needs some more work. We've got to, we need a villain arc or a whatever. Like, you're constantly going to be changing it. It's just what we do.
You're talking about AI and jobs. On the topic of kind of like jobs, we ask this question to all of our guests. What did you want to be when you were a kid?
Oh. Do you want the story? Quick one. I wanted to be a horticulturalist when I was a kid. So it's somebody who works specifically with like plants and like under, not necessarily landscaping, but like more the scientific side. I was really fascinated by different species of plants and how to pollinate, and I loved like to be outside when I was a kid. Then in Japanese class, funny enough, we had to say that question. What do you want to be? What do you want to be when you grow older? We were like turning it into Japanese conversation. And we couldn't find a word for horticulturalist in Japanese. So I changed it to gardener. And I was writing it in my book, and I was talking with it with like the person next to me. And the kid behind me saw that I had written gardener on the board. And they were like, ugh, who wrote gardener? What? That's a horrible choice for a career. And I just was so mortified that from that day, I was like, I don't want to be a horticulturalist anymore.
That's kind of sad.
I know, right? But, and I wish that I often go back to that moment and be like, I wish that I turned around and was like, I want to be a horticulturalist. Like, bam. I didn't do that. I was young. I was 14. I was, not sure of myself or anything. But let's turn it into a positive now. In the last couple of months, I have been doing as my creative downtime, because all creatives need downtime. I have actually been out in the garden because it's been really beautiful here in the UK, and I've had my journal with me. So I just am like gardening, or I am like playing with like the rose bushes or tidying things up. And as I'm doing that, I'm getting ideas or I'm writing things down in my journal. So I've slowly brought that back as to something in my life. I'm not a horticulturalist anymore, but it's still now drifting back into my life in a really lovely way.
That sounds nice and relaxing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also asked this question to all of our guests, and it's also related to when you were a kid. Would you have wanted recess when you were a kid?
Ooh, great question. I'm going to be controversial here. I'm going to say no. I know, right?
This is the first time we've heard this.
Really?
Yeah.
Explain my reasoning. I'm going to say no, but I'm also going to say yes, but I'm going to change the question. So I'm going to say no because when I was a kid, as I mentioned, up until like about 14, I loved being outside. I spent my whole childhood basically in the garden. And I think back to that time and I loved it. I loved it. We also didn't have the technology that we have today. So I can't imagine being in front of a computer back then. Like, I'm old. I know I don't look it, but I'm old, people. We just didn't have the technology. However, and like I said, I really loved it. The other part of me saying no is that I don't think that I would be here talking with you both if I did have recess. And the reason I say that is because I might have become a horticulturalist. Just honestly, like think about our community in Creative Genesis, in Writer's Workshop. Everybody is constantly, they never have that kid who's like, hey, I don't, like, of course you can be a horticulturalist. Like do something. Show us what it is that you're doing. Show us what you love. Show us your passion. Show us all of that sort of stuff. It's such an amazing community, right? So I feel like if I was part of Recess now as a kid, I might have become a horticulturalist. I might have become, I might have learned to code or all of those amazing things. But I feel like I wouldn't be where I am right now without the things that I did when I was younger. But let me change your question, because this is important, because I am definitely thinking about this, because eventually in the next few years I will be starting a family. So the future little writers, I would definitely want this space for them. That's key, because I think while I really loved my childhood growing up and being outside and doing all of these wild, wonderful things, I think that what is here now and what I've been privileged enough, like everything that I've done to get me to this point, I want to gift that on to my kids. And I think that Recess and Creative Genesis could be the space for like you and our like the future kids. Like that's who I want to be in the space. I don't necessarily like to think about future poor Brianne who's crying because she couldn't be a horticulturalist. I want to think about the future and my future kids. I can't wait for them to be on Recess. I can't wait for them to meet you and be inspired by the generation of, because like they'll be like, that's 10 years, you'll be like old by then. Like who knows, maybe you're on Recess teaching.
Maybe, hopefully. No. I can welcome them in as an RA.
There we go. But yeah, I'm definitely, I'm going to change your question, Maddie. I'm really sorry. I am looking forward for Recess for my future kids.
So you said that you were thinking of starting a family, and we heard that you were getting married.
Yes.
This is so exciting. And you're having a wedding in December, apparently? A Christmas wedding?
Christmas in Australia, but it's summer, remember?
True.
Yeah, summer wedding in Australia.
Yay. Are we, like, if we're not invited, I will be very offended. Live stream it. We're all gonna come. Like, oh, what's that little computer in the corner? It's all of Creative Genesis.
Oh gosh. Okay. That's gonna be interesting. I can live stream it if you want. Really? I don't know if my family would be okay with that. But...
blur out all the faces, like okay, it's just me.
I'll be taking lots and lots of photos.
Live stream.
An Australian.
So everyone in Creative Genesis knows that you are a peanut butter fanatic.
Yes.
I also absolutely love peanut butter. And I'm interested, are you more of a crunchy or a smooth person?
Ooh. Smooth on bread, although I don't eat bread anymore. Crunchy on celery. Yeah. I put it in everything though, so yeah. But yes, I would only have crunchy peanut butter if I am having celery. Otherwise, I'm smooth. Like tummy grumble. Delish. Yes. Peanut butter.
Do you want to play a game?
Sure. Let's do this.
So, We're doing Mad Libs. It's like a writing thing, Mad
Yep.
Libs. So you're gonna fill in the blanks,
Mm-hmm.
and we will make a story with it.
Okay.
Okay. An adjective.
Wise.
A noun.
Fish fingers.
Ooh.
Okay, another adjective.
Robust. ROBUST.
Yeah. A verb ending in ing.
Paddling.
Okay. Another verb ending in ing.
Singing.
A plural noun.
Penguins.
Cute.
Adjective. Oh. Something cut out. Sorry. Adjective.
Fiery.
A body part, plural. So legs or yeah.
Is.
Is ears. A verb, but past tense.
Knocked.
A random noise.
Like onomatopoeia, like wham.
Yeah.
Or like a noise is in like chirping.
Anything.
Yeah.
Let's go with wham.
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 Okay. Wham. I'll add that in capitals. Okay.
Oh, Maddie's face tells me that she's like, oh gosh, what are we doing?
A celebrity name.
Can it be like a celebrity from like a book? Can it be a book character?
Sure. Yeah, I'll
Okay,
allow
let's go
that.
with Katniss.
Ooh. A silly word.
Truffler.
Verb.
Saddle.
Just regular verb.
Oh, it needs to be a regular verb?
Yeah.
Just trot.
Okay. A type of snack.
Peanut butter.
Yes.
A plural noun.
A plural noun. I've only got body parts coming to my head because we did it before. Flowers.
An emotion.
Enraged.
A type of magical creature.
Phoenix.
A verb ending in ing.
Trying.
A weird item. Or just an item.
A toothbrush.
Okay. An exclamation.
Is that like wham again?
You could, I think, more like, like, ah, or something like that.
No!
Oh my gosh.
What? Maddie, stop it. You're making me nervous.
Okay, I'm going to read it. It was... Okay, it was a robust afternoon when I logged into recess and joined Creative Genesis. As usual, Brianne was already there. I brought my favorite fish fingers. And everyone was singing peacefully while throwing around ideas about flying penguins. Then Brianne gave us a fiery prompt. Right from the perspective of a pair of ears. No, you guys are I have a little thing of you guys. You're blocking my list. Things went downhill fast. Someone accidentally knocked on their keyboard and screamed, "Wham!"
That actually happens a lot.
Which summoned the ghost of Katniss into the call. They yelled, "Dracula!" and challenged us to a trot. Challenged us to trot better than them. We accepted. For inspiration, we all grabbed a peanut butter, some glittery flowers, and started writing with enraged in our hearts. Suddenly, a wild phoenix burst through the screen and started trying on top of a toothbrush. I don't know. No, I shouted. This is the best writing session ever.
I mean, it actually sounds like a Creative Genesis session. Just
it does. Yeah. That dang phoenix.
Peanut butter. I mean, how many times have I told you, stop bringing your fish fingers to writer's workshop?
I was hungry.
But yeah, so now we have to do Ben's question.
We're so sorry.
We're so sorry. We're actually really sorry. Who felt better, me or Ella?
Yeah, I was hoping that you asked someone else this. I thought there might have been someone in between.
Oh,
I know.
Ben!
It also doesn't work because, like, I can't like either of you better. Like, it's just, it's actually genuinely not possible. Also, it's like illogical because you're both amazing.
But yeah, if you create a question for us to ask our next guest on the show, what would it be?
Would you like a ridiculous question, or would you like something that's like deep and meaningful? Like, what type of question?
Anything.
Whatever you're feeling like today.
What about what like gets you? Ooh, should we do like a CG like bookends question?
Ooh, yeah.
What's your favorite router? What router are you feeling like today?
Ride Flow is the type of router. Shout out for that one. Maybe we could do like the mood ring one.
Mood ring.
Like, yeah. If you had to imagine the mood ring on your finger right now, what color would it be and why? I love that question.
Brianne, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I am obviously very excited for the projects that you're both working on that we're keeping on the down low, so I'm not going to give anything away, but I'm very excited for that in the next few weeks.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me on the podcast, and yeah, looking forward to the next thing that you both do.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was really fun. So it's the end of the episode, and thank you for being on the Recess Rundown podcast. It was really fun to get to know you a little bit better.
If you are part of the Recess community and would like to be on our show, please email us, Ella and Maddie, at recessrundown@gmail.com or message us on the Recess platform, and we will make sure to get you on the show.
Please like and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye!